Picture yourself in a courtyard, not filled with blossoms, but lined with restraints. Your toes grip icy pavement. A metal link binds your arms to a column. No rest, no bending. You've stood for 12 hours straight. Steel barbs are fixed deep in your jawlines. Inserted a month back by a worker who handled it like fixing a fence. Everyday task. Each gulp, each inhale, the steel grinds against flesh. Your head is scraped clean. Your brow bears a dark etching, a crude emblem, servant. In Assyrian tongue, it spells one fate, owned. But the stain isn't simple dye. It's blended with the remains of your kin-father, siblings, relatives pulverized and etched eternally into your features. You attempt to cry out, to plead, but all that emerges is a mangled, bubbling noise that amuses the watchers without fail. Because a month ago, an Assyrian expert cut away part of your lower mouth, not to kill or mute you entirely, just sufficient to warp every utterance into something grotesque, alien. And you're not isolated. Across this enclosure, scores of females endure the same. Noble women, rulers, offspring of vanquished leaders, all tethered, all branded, all altered beyond what their families could identify. The cruelest twist, they aim to sustain you for years, positioned here where diplomats, traders, and every citizen of the realm passes daily. In the Assyrian domain, ending life was kindness and kindness was absent. That sensation, in under a minute these females bore it for lifetimes. If you're ready to uncover the depths, hit subscribe and like this video immediately, as this is merely the opener. This wasn't rare. It was protocol, noted in Assyrian kingly records, deciphered by explorer Austin Henry Layard, housed now in the British Museum. Visit and witness the proof yourself. The Assyrian realm dominated Mesopotamia over 3 centuries, from 911 to 609 BCE. Rulers such as Ashurbanipal II boasted publicly of deeds against foes, skinning commanders while conscious, skewering captives on poles by urban entrances, erecting towers from severed heads. Expert A. Kerr Grayson catalogued this in Assyrian kingly writings. They logged each deed with the accuracy a trader tallies goods. Yet here's the overlooked truth. Those acts, the skinning, skewering, head towers targeted warriors, males seized in combat. For females, the sovereigns, noble daughters, kin of resistors. The Assyrians crafted horrors far grimmer, since shattering a form lasts moments. Shattering someone's core while maintaining breath demands ingenuity. Shadowy, strategic, systematic ingenuity. It began with identity. In modern times, a name is paperwork. In old Mesopotamia, your name embodied your essence, voiced before deities. Son's name. You didn't merely shed self, you vanished spiritually, became void. Thus, upon seizing women from rival noble lines, Assyrians first demolished not physiques but identities. All carvings with her title were hunted and wiped. Every slab, every entry, every hint of her past, swapped for labels like the unnamed or a tally in logs. In a calculated stroke, her spirit faded before divinities as her form persisted. Slabs from Mari's royal vaults, unearthed by French diggers in the 1930s, detail a noble from Elam's realm. Sent as payment to King Tiglath-Pileser III, her fault, not plotting, not disloyalty, simply enduring when her homeland opposed. Clerks noted the sequel with the chill exactness used for stock inventories. Initially, they purged her title from all logs. Next, they addressed her form. And this reveals Assyrian true prowess. No strikes, no fractures. Their approach was deeply planned. They excised her lower mouth edge with exact cuts, not to mar holy, just to garble lifelong speech, a tone that prompted listeners to avert gazes uneasily. Ponder this. A female whose tones once echoed prayers in Elam's grand shrines, honed for elegance, devotion, directing elites. Assyrians seized that tool of influence and flipped it against her. Each vowel escaping became evidence of the act. Each noise aired a caution to hearers. Then they secured her in Kalu's royal grounds, today's Nimrud, Iraq, where envoys, sellers, and masses of regulars strolled by her routinely. Not concealed, positioned purposefully as Assyrians grasped fear's mental grip. A slain rival fades in days. A marred, chained survivor visible to all. She lingers in minds across eras. MC2, but garden placements were routine. What follows is for emphatic warnings. In 647 BCE, Ashurbanipal overran Susa, Elam's hub. No ordinary victory. Elamites resisted Assyria long, and Ashurbanipal sought to broadcast Defiance's price worldwide. Amid prizes, he took the Elamite ruler Timon's 3 daughters, royal lineage females whose allure echoed to Babylon's far bazaars. Their ordeal isn't myth, not folklore. It's etched in rock. North Palace reliefs at Nineveh, found by digger Hormuzd Rassam in 1854, now in British Museum. View them presently. They're literal reports. The trio faced what texts term alteration of sacred shape, a months-long regimen, systematic under healer oversight, reshaping 3 lives. Aim, per experts on these logs, to render them non-human in look sans halting vitality. Consider the setup needed. Healers, note-takers tracking phases, sentries blocking flight or final acts. Smiths shaping tools, a full administrative machine for extended torment of 3 females. Metal prongs lodged forever in their faces, like those suspending beast hides in Assyrian stalls. Not brief holds, enduring steel these females bore facially, till end. Meals, breaths, slumbers the prongs stayed, unending bodily reminder they weren't individuals. They were exhibits earned. Their scalps scraped smooth every few days. In that era's ways, female locks were holy. Her glory, selfhood, charm. Bold female stood beyond norms. Not male, not female, entity sans cosmic slop. Perpetual baldness trapped these daughters in endless non-self. They hovered in emptiness, not truly vital, yet denied release. Then the markings, a facet chilling researchers post-decoding. Badges of bondage incised on brows with lasting ebony stain, fused with kin ashes from Susa's downfall. Siblings, elders, loved ones turned to tint. Each glimpsing pools showed deceased relatives scripted on her flesh, forever labeling as asset, and this sets it apart from ancient peers. Assyrians ensured peak bodily wellness, nourished richly. Injuries healed by experts. Cleansed in rites, since realm shunned death's escape. Objective, years of this state, years viewed, years as living testaments to opposing Assyrian rule. Ashurbanipal's missives rendered by scholar Simo Papala in Assyrian royal letters show the ruler queried healers on extending these females' durations. Demanded updates. Needed confirmation of breadth, display, utility. This wasn't lunatic fury. It was measured, official, health-monitored estate system sustaining 3 in fate beyond demise. Their agony outweighed any value from remains. If you've reached here, you're among rare souls facing these tales head-on. Leave a comment, do such accounts deserve sharing, and subscribe if not yet, as darker depths await. Buried in Asher's records, a document first rendered by German expert Friedrich Delitzsch in 1902, stayed academic bound for years. No public English version. Why? Academics deem details too harrowing for masses. That document outlines a penalty so structured, so drawn out that later experts named it social erasure, aimed at royal females who schemed against Assyria or whose clans skipped tributes. Not killing. Engineered worse, demise of self while body lingers years. Invasion Day 1 led to Nineveh's central plaza before Ishtar's lofty shrine, goddess of passion and battle. Crowds in thousands observe. You're shamed openly amid spectators. Yet Assyrians avoid blows. They knew insightfully, harm sparks sympathy. Onlookers pity beaten. They sought disgust, not sympathy. So they coat your skin in blend of nectar, tree sap, beast greaser mix, drawing bugs while guarding epidermis. Left bare under harsh rays for 3 full days. As clerks proclaim each rank you held, each perk enjoyed, striking each from ledgers while assembly views mute. And, ancient crowd scene. Post this, the reversal. Months on, you a past ruler executes society's basest chores, scrubbing communal wastes bare-handed, treating pelts, carting refuse to distant plots for soil boost. Dressed in soiled cloths, tinted crude violet, blaring to passers. This was royalty once. Behold her now. Visualize, female once adorned in precious stones and azure gems, rested on fine weaves, attended by multitudes, now toting loads through Nineveh's lanes as folks gesture. Youths hurl pebbles. The violet cloths broadcast prior rank visibly month by month through blistering heats and biting colds for almost 3 years. And the Syrians guarantee endurance. Health aid given not kindly strategically. Form must withstand the finale. For this penalty's masterstroke, deemed by chroniclers among history's most mind-shattering, arrived last. After years, you're freed. Papers restored, months' rations granted, directed to Nineveh's exits liberated. After torment, a sack of supplies horizon pointed, commanded to depart. Relief should surge. Joy should rise, but emptiness reigns, for you sense the outer trap. After years shamed publicly, witnessed by citizens, vendors, voyagers through Nineveh, none will accept, no hamlet welcomes, no lodging beds you. Kin by blood, who ought embrace, bar entry, deemed tainted, doomed, impure eternally. Assyrians skipped physical barriers, they forged the globe as your prison. You trek days, near a settlement, spot fire smokes. Hear youth glee. Think, perhaps here, unaware folks, but awareness spreads swifter than steps. Violet cloths declare before speech, and speech's warped echo seals it. Entries shut, all entries. You wander farther, feet blistering on sun-baked earth, throat parched, hope dimming with each rejected village. The violet rags cling like a second skin, announcing your shame before you can beg for water. Children scatter at your approach. Elders make protective signs against evil. Even stray dogs growl low, sensing something broken. Weeks stretch into months of this solitary march until strength fails and you collapse beneath a lone tamarisk tree, staring at the indifferent sky. Some stories end here, bones bleaching white under relentless sun. But others refuse the final silence. Deep within the palace complex of Kalu and Nineveh, where marble corridors echoed with royal footsteps, a different form of defiance took root in darkness. Women who had been stripped of names, voices, and futures found tiny cracks in the empire's armor. Guards grew complacent after years of unchallenged control. Scribes left clay tablets drying in shadowed corners. A stolen stylus, perhaps slipped from a careless apprentice, became the most dangerous weapon these women possessed. One by one, in stolen moments between forced labors or chained vigils, they pressed fingertips into soft clay. No grand declarations, no calls to rebellion. Just fragments, 3 or 4 jagged lines at most. My eyes still see the sunrise. They cut my mouth, but not my memory. I was daughter of kings, now dust remembers me. These were not for contemporaries. They knew no one living would read them without severe punishment. These messages were time capsules, buried deliberately in wall crevices under loose floor stones, behind decorative panels, places archaeologists would one day pry open with brushes and patience. When German scholar Friedrich Delitzsch first published translations of select fragments in 1902, the academic world recoiled. The contents were deemed too raw, too personal for broad release. Full English versions remained scarce until the late 20th century. Yet those few surviving lines, now studied in journals like Iraq and Anatolian Studies, carry a power that stone reliefs and Victory Stili never achieved. They're proof that erasure failed. Professor Stephanie Daly, in her 2013 analysis published in Iraq, describes these as among the earliest attested acts of what we now call subaltern writing, texts produced by those officially denied literacy and voice. The women who made them understood the risk perfectly. Discovery meant renewed torment, perhaps mutilation, beyond what they had already endured. Still they wrote, night after night, tablet after tablet, hiding each in a different location so that even if patrols found some, others might escape notice for millennia. They even reappropriated the empire's own symbols of degradation. The permanent brow tattoos. Among themselves, they whispered that these were warrior brands, proof they had faced the worst and continued breathing. The iron hooks piercing cheeks, they called them royal jewelry the king could never reclaim. The shaved heads that marked them as outside human categories, they became badges of endurance, reminders that they had outlasted attempts to unmake them. Language itself, the tool of their oppressors, was quietly turned against the system. Imagine the psychological strength required for such small, dangerous acts. Every scratch of stylus carried the weight of existential rebellion. I exist, each mark declared, despite every effort to render me non-existent. In a world where power measured itself in conquered cities and piled skulls, these women measured victory in hidden clay words that might one day reach eyes that cared. And reach they did. When the Medes and Babylonians sacked Nineveh in 612 BCE, flames consumed cedar roofs and toppled Lamassu statues. Conquerors deliberately smashed victory reliefs, defaced royal names, tried to wipe Assyrian memory from the earth. Yet in the rubble, centuries later, diggers found what the destroyers overlooked: palm-sized tablets tucked into wall voids, pressed into mortar gaps, concealed so cleverly that only modern tools and luck revealed them. Written, not in formal Akkadian court script, but in everyday Aramaic, the tongue of merchants, slaves, common folk. Signed not with names. They had none left, but with personal symbols, scholars still debate, perhaps a stylized eye, a single reed, a tiny handprint. These were not official archives. They were unauthorized, illicit, born of desperation and unbreakable will. Oxford Assyriologist Mario Liverani, in his work on Assyrian imperialism, calls them evidence of existential resistance. Not armed uprising, not political conspiracy, but the stubborn refusal to vanish completely. The empire invested vast resources in making certain women into living warnings. Those same women quietly invested whatever scraps of agency remained in ensuring the warning would one day include their own truth. The mightiest empire could silence mouths but never erase memory. 2,600 years separate us from those trembling hands pressing clay in torchlit corners. Assyrian kings still dominate history textbooks. Their campaigns fill museum galleries. Tourists photograph themselves beside colossal winged bulls. Yet the women designed to be ultimate examples of defeated power remain largely nameless. Their graves, if they received any, are unmarked beneath Iraqi soil. No statues commemorate them. No festivals honor their endurance. And still you are here, listening, imagining their bare feet on cold stone, their distorted voices attempting speech, their fingertips leaving faint impressions in wet clay. By hearing these stories, you accomplish what the most feared state of the ancient Near East spent centuries preventing. You remember them. You restore to, however small a degree, the humanity that was systematically stripped away. The Assyrians believed terror written in stone and flesh would endure forever. Stone crumbles. Flesh returns to dust. But stories carried across generations, sparked by curiosity and compassion, prove surprisingly resilient. Perhaps the deepest lesson lies here. Empires rise on foundations of fear. They build monuments meant to outlast time. They think control over bodies and names equals control over memory. They are always wrong. The final word never belongs to the conqueror. It belongs to the ones who, against every probability, refuse erasure. Those women carved truth into clay, hoping someone, someday, would find it. You found it. Now carry it forward. Drop a comment below. Which part of this history hit you hardest? Every reply adds another voice saying, "We see you, we remember." And if these forgotten stories moved you, smash that like button and subscribe to The Historian Fact. Not just for more content, for keeping these voices alive, one viewer at a time. On your screen now, recommendations for other dark chapters of ancient history waiting to be uncovered. See you in the next one. The fall of Nineveh in 612 BCE did not happen quietly. Armies from Media and a resurgent Babylon swept through the Tigris plains like a storm long promised. They torched cedar-beamed halls, shattered alabaster lions, melted gold overlays from throne rooms. Royal names carved in cuneiform were deliberately gouged out. Statues of kings once meant to stare eternally across conquered lands were toppled into the dust. The Assyrians, who had spent centuries perfecting the art of making enemies disappear, now watched their own capital vanish in smoke and flame. Yet something survived the inferno. Amid collapsed walls and scattered ash, future excavators would uncover the smallest, most fragile artifacts, those palm-sized clay pieces the women had hidden decades earlier. Not grand victory inscriptions, not royal decrees, just hurried scratches made in dim light by fingers that had already lost so much. Aramaic script common, everyday handwriting carries messages. No court scribe would ever dare record officially. One fragment, barely 4 lines long, reads in translation, "They took my name and gave me nothing, but these words I leave. Let them outlive stone." Another, "My voice is broken, yet memory speaks." A third, almost too faint to read after 2.5 millennia, to the one who finds this: "No, we lived. No, we suffered. No, we refused to become nothing." Scholars debate the exact number of such tablets. Estimates range from a dozen confirmed pieces to perhaps 3 times that many still waiting in unexcavated palace debris. What is certain is their rarity and their power. These are not the voices of generals or priests. They come from women the empire classified as non-persons objects of display, warnings made flesh, living proof that resistance ended in oblivion. And yet, oblivion did not win. The Assyrians invested enormous effort in controlling narrative. They recorded every campaign, every pile of heads, every flayed skin, every impaled body with meticulous pride. They assumed terror carved in basalt and written on parchment would echo forever. They never imagined that the most enduring record would come from the very people they tried hardest to erase. When Stephanie Daly presented her 2013 paper analyzing these fragments, she noted something striking. The act of writing itself became a form of survival. In a society where literacy belonged to elites and scribes, these women, officially stripped of status, claimed the tool of the literate. They did not need armies or alliances. A stolen stylus, a moment unobserved, wet clay drying in shadow that was enough to challenge an empire's claim to finality. Maria Liverani, reflecting on Assyrian imperial ideology, argues that such micro-resistances reveal the limits of even the most brutal control systems. Power can break bodies, rename identities, distort voices, chain limbs, tattoo shame into skin. But it cannot fully extinguish the human drive to say, I was here, this happened. Remember, quote, 2 millennia and 6 centuries later, those clay whispers reach us across deserts, wars, forgotten languages, museum vaults. We read them not because we are special, but because someone long ago, in pain most of us cannot fathom, decided the risk was worth it. They could not fight with spears. They could not flee through guarded gates. So they fought with memory itself. And memory proved stronger. The kings who ordered these torments are studied today mostly for their cruelty. Ashurbanipal II, Tiglath-Pileser III, Ashurbanipal, their names appear in textbooks beside phrases like terror tactics and psychological warfare. Their palaces are tourist attractions. Their reliefs draw crowds who gasp at the graphic detail. But the women, they remain mostly nameless. Their suffering was meant to be spectacle, then silence. Instead, it became evidence. By sitting through this video, by listening to these reconstructed accounts drawn from annals, letters, reliefs, and those hidden tablets, you have done something no Assyrian king could prevent. You have given them back a fraction of what was stolen. You have heard what was meant to be unheard. You have remembered what was meant to be forgotten. That matters. So here is my final request, not to me, but to them. If any part of this history stirred something in you, anger, sorrow, awe, respect, channel it. Like this video so the algorithm carries their story to more people. Subscribe to the History and Fact if you want to keep hearing voices the powerful tried to silence. Drop one honest sentence in the comments. Which detail will you carry with you? Which image won't leave your mind? Every comment, every share, every new subscriber becomes another crack in the wall of erasure. Empires fall, monuments crack, but stories, especially the ones carved in desperation, have a way of outlasting both. Thank you for staying until the end. The women who pressed trembling fingers into clay would be astonished to know their marks still speak, and now because of you they speak a little louder. See you in the next forgotten chapter.